Hey everybody, registration is now open for our 7th annual summit. Is that right, Peter? Our 7th?
7th.
That's crazy. So
great.
This time at the beautiful JW Marriott Camelback in Scottsdale, Arizona. You can immerse yourself in innovation, inspiration, unite your team, which is most important, and at the same time, earn 16 CE credits. Renew your practice, transform your life, June 14th and 15th. Registration's now open. Don't delay. These things always sell out. This one will as well. Go to bulletproofsummit.com. 2 days that will redefine your practice life. We guarantee it.
All right, everybody. It's Craig and Pete back. We just saw each other, what, Craig? 8 hours ago?
Yesterday.
12 hours ago?
Yeah.
Yesterday. We spent the whole day together traveling up to North Carolina. It's kind of a crazy day.
It was a cool day.
Cool day, right? Cool day with good people. And yeah, man, finally making moves towards cool stuff.
I was waiting for you to.
Yeah,
I was
a little
waiting for
cryptic,
to see
right?
what. Yeah, I knew you'd be cryptic, but yeah. Listen, I think it's fair to say I'm proud of us because there's something that Peter and I have been working on for a really long time. We have documents going back from 2017, and it's just nice to finally make progress. I think that's you reach a point in your life where you've been talking crap for long enough, and you're ready to, get moving, and we're making some movement. So, not to be overly cryptic here, but more about that later. But yesterday was a big day.
Okay, so what I want to talk about today, we're going to bang out some quick content here, because I think this is pretty fascinating. I believe I brought this up to our mastermind, or maybe just on a text thread with some of us dentists, Dwight and Trey. But I'm going to share my screen, and I want to see how you respond to this report that just came out. Let's see. So hold on, Craig. Okay. So this is from Becker's, which is a pretty good source of dental news, I think. And it's discovering, and now there's a study that they did that polled more than 900 dentists across the nation on how busy they were during the first quarter of 2024, right? So pretty timely data. Right? Yep. We're only in the beginnings of Q2. So it's pretty timely data. And so what they were looking at was, from a geographic standpoint, was there delineations of how busy dentists were, right? From an urban to a suburban to an urban scenario. What would you think before
rural,
I scroll?
Suburban, urban.
Before what?
Rural, suburban, urban.
Is the order of what? Busyness to not busy?
Yeah, I just didn't hear you correctly. I thought you said rural. I thought you said urban twice.
Well, I said urban, then suburban, then rural. So okay, unfortunately, urban is inside the word suburban.
Yep.
And I do mumble from time to time.
It's okay. It's my fault. I can't drink and listen at the same time, clearly.
So listen, what it says is, here's the big takeaway from this article, was that I'll highlight it here, more than 1/4 of dentists in rural areas said they are too busy to treat individuals now. Right. So essentially what that means to me is we are stopping new patients, kind of thing. So 1/4 of dentists in rural areas, compared to just 7.4% of dentists that live in the top 20 cities.
So they're 3 times busier in rural than in urban. 3 times busier. So 1/4 and 8%, basically.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So that always goes to the idea that if you put a dental practice where one doesn't exist, you don't really have to be that remarkable, and you don't have to figure out a big marketing strategy, because need trumps everything else.
Yeah. I gotta say, I mean, I'm a little biased in this statistic, and I like it because I am a fan of rural markets. As you know, Craig, I have 3 practices in rural markets, tertiary markets for sure. All of which I would agree with this. I've gotten calls to, hey, can you turn off the marketing, please? All 3 of them, because we are now in the 7, 8, pushing people out 7, 8, 9, 10 months, which sounds great, but it is a problem. Right. And the problem is that now you're kind of in your recalls. Now you're not treating your regular patients in recalls, and they can't get in, and it just starts almost creating more of a problem. So I would agree.
You're pissing people off too. So
that's what I'm saying. You start getting bad reviews because now you've destroyed some loyalty, so to speak. And it's not your fault.
Peter, you ever gone to a restaurant before and it's early and you say, can you sneak me, two people in? They say, no, we can't. You look around, there's tables empty everywhere.
Right.
It's because they know that the kitchen can't handle it. And yeah, they could seat you most likely, but they don't have the staff to support you. And you're going to wind up having a bad experience. So to your point, not being able to service your patients is actually bad customer service.
But for so long, though, it felt like that rural practices were like the stepchild. I don't know. I mean, they were looked down upon.
They're harder to get a doctor to move there.
They are definitely harder to get a doctor, which is crazy because, I've seen the quality of life differences and things. And I always say, like, people, had I done it all over again, I might have just moved rural just from the start. I mean, everything worked out great, but it's such a I see the quality of life. Like, for example, I have a husband and wife team up in a Blue Ridge office, and they are busy. They feel fulfilled. They have a great quality of life. They're, pillars in the community kind of thing now. And that's after just like 3 years.
Right. Well, you better be in your tip top game if you're going to be in a dense market. And it's true that this is a great conversation to have because.
But I think it's good for the society, Craig, is where I was going because there are, like you said, there are needs across the nation. And for whatever reason, we have a consolidation in the cities. And I think COVID proved with that flight that there was a work from home, meaning you could almost live in a lot of different places. And like when COVID happened, right? I saw a boom in some of these rural towns because people are like, well, I'm getting the heck out of town. I'm getting out of the cities. And now after COVID, people have come back in, so to speak, but it kind of proved that model that it's doable, if you will.
Well, also the costs, what does $2,000 a month get you in downtown Atlanta? What does $2,000 a month get you in Blairsville, Georgia? I mean, you won the lottery. Totally. So there's a lot of different things. But I think, look, if we're being honest with you, you got a pretty fairly large scope of practice as a practice owner. You see the amount of energy and attention, like your ADS brand, your premium. I'm using air quotes for those that don't see it. Premium brand.
Yep.
Not to say that dentistry is better in one spot than another, but that takes a lot of your time, energy. And if you see the dollars that are produced in rural versus premium markets,
because it's so competitive, is what you're saying.
It's so competitive. So you're doing more work for less economic reward. And workforce, there's a whole myriad of factors that lend itself to that. So yeah. And there is probably a movement towards populations, moving out of larger concentrated cities because a lot of people can work from home still. Or, the law practice, they don't have to go to the law office or the financial district.
Speaking of competition, so this is another little story. Then I'm going to go to this kind of the second news story for us today. One of my best buddies, he moved to Nashville. I did his veneers probably 2012, maybe, right? So he broke number 12. He sends me a picture today of a quote to have it repaired by a dentist. I said, yeah, go to him in Nashville. What do you think that price was to repair one tooth?
12, one tooth?
One tooth, number 12. Yes.
You're obviously saying that. I think it's going to be expensive by the way you're saying it.
Okay, well, probably that's pretty good indication. But
okay,
what would you guess if you think that, like,
guess, because it could have gone either way. You could have told, but I think that's true. Expensive. Knowing you and the way you described it, your facial expressions, $4,200.
You are close. You're very close. $3,490.
Yeah, $3,500.
He's like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. So I don't know. I just thought that was just food for thought today.
Can I opine on that for a second?
Please.
Here's what I think. So look, you and I have data showing that dentistry is flattening out across the board, right? So 21, 22, 2023, some pent up demand from COVID made a lot of dentists, maybe even us included, think we're, a little bit better than we actually are. Tide's going out now. Economic indicators are showing that consumer confidence is fading a bit. And most dental practices are flat right now. I think, isn't that fair to say? Most dental practices are flat?
Flat to down, I would say.
Flat to down. Okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include the guys that have opened up 2 new locations this year, added 6 chairs to their enterprise. That's not, I'm talking about organic year-over-year growth is flat. So I think that 2022 made us think that we're all going to be busier than we should be. And fees, like all the inflation talk, everybody's
and great investors too, right?
What's it, one more time?
Great investors too, right?
Yeah. So I just think now we have high fees and we're going to see lessening demand. It's just my feeling. It's not supported in anything but a feeling. I have a feeling there's going to be doctors adjusting their fees downward. That's just a feeling. What
Well,
do you
I
say
thought
about
what
that?
you were going to opine on, and anytime someone says, "Hey, can I opine?" the answer is yes when you're using a word like that.
Well, it's just my feeling. It's based on total BS. I
but
have
remember
no.
when we had the study a few pods ago about the dental intel statistics about how the top 10 is getting farther away from the delta between the top 10 and the bottom 10 or the lower third or whatever is increasing. And so we're almost seeing like this class system, right? Where the better are getting more expensive. And yeah, the haves exactly.
But just to kind of bookend what I was asking you, tell me, opine on that. Do you think that fees have got, do you see a darker period coming for dentistry? I mean, I'm not talking about the skies falling, but just lessening demand, flatter revenue, and a subsequent lowering of dentist fees. Yes or no? Over the next year or two.
It's a great question, man, because you hate to reflect on this in your own ecosystem, right?
No, of course. It's
I don't think in my entire career, Craig, that have I ever lowered prices, right? It's been a gradual increase, whenever we decide to do it. So I don't think there's ever been a retracement. So I'm going to have to go with my own bias and say no, that we're not going to see that. But
well, then do you think other consumer areas will go back in price?
I do. And to the point about the city and country thing, Craig, I think that there is going to be, look, when quality and experience are not differentiators, price becomes the thing you'd have to differentiate on. And that becomes a race to the bottom. So you're going to have the people who, quote, maybe potentially dentists who led with being the lowest cost. And now they're going to start racing to the bottom, right? You beat me by 50 cents. I'm going to beat you, right? We see that in Invisalign, right? Because Invisalign, whatever, for better or worse, has been commoditized. And everyone thinks it's the same provider is the same thing. And it's not. But they think it's just, and it becomes a race to the bottom. So there's going to be a commoditization where you have an abundance of care. And that goes back to this article we led with was the inner cities or metro areas, I should say, not inner cities, but metro areas have an abundance of dental practitioners typically.
Yeah. Here's where I got my bias from. And this is just this is a hallucination, Peter. So just humor me. I think that dentists, and I'm filling a lot of blanks here, so I might get some flack for this.
You're going to get some hate mail.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Drop a comment below if you disagree. But this is my belief. I believe in 2021, we're hearing so much inflation is going crazy, and you better raise your fees, double-digit %, and blah, blah, blah. I have a feeling that a guy like that 3,400 veneer guy was probably like 1,800 a veneer in 2020. So I think he overshot it. I know your fees, Peter, the kind of steady Eddie. That's why you said there's no retracement. I think there's people, again, I don't know this Nashville guy, but I think there's people that have doubled their fee in 4 years.
It's a supply and demand, I think, too. And maybe this office has one practitioner, right? There's not the scale that I need to get everyone, quote unquote, fed with. So when you're an excellent practitioner and you have no availability, the way out of it is just keep raising your prices until you have some availability. Like, that's it. You should always have.
Maybe they thought your friend was such a pain in the ass that they're like, we don't want this guy to say yes.
Yeah, that could be too. There could have been a PETA fee, right? Pain in the ass fee, a PETA fee attached.
Right. You better match this 12 to 5 over here. I don't care if it matches 11, 13.
My friend said the buccal corridor should be exactly the same, and the line angle, axial alignment should be the same.
So Becky, do me a favor. Instead of 900 a veneer, can you make it like 2,500? So I got even better. Let's do 3,500. Done.
Yeah, let's just 2x the price.
Let's just 3x it. Yeah. All right. That's just my thought.
So on to something else that is going to add even a little bit more. It's ironic how this is.
One last question. What do you think is a normal fee for a veneer, Peter, in your ecosystem across all your practices and different geos? What's fair?
$2,000, I think. $2,000.
Okay, so fair.
I think so.
So let's get some wiggle room. 1,700 to 2,300. You're cool with that?
Yes.
Okay.
All in. But what I saw in this treatment plan, and I hesitate to call it a treatment plan because it's a single tooth, but what I saw was the veneer, the prepless veneer fee, the laboratory fee, the diagnostic wax up fee, the X-ray. It was a bunch of
waxing up a tooth, huh?
Yeah, right. But guess what? He doesn't know what that means. It's just, so like a bunch of line items, which created value. Like, okay. But at the end, it was a prepless veneer, essentially.
The veneer fee in full in full benefit to the provider is probably $900. So we can't.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying it was a $900 veneer fee, $1,000 lab fee, an $800 wax up fee,
right,
a $300 rinsing fee, air water syringe fee.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there was some of those consumables, but it seemed very nickel and dime and very expensive from my standpoint. It's kind of like
charging for credit card fees. Just raise your prices by 1.5% rather than, do a 3% credit card fee.
But look, but back to my point is if you're getting that and you are in that demand and you're creating that much value for people, more power to you.
Oh, right? I hear you. There's hotels in the same city for $150 a night and $500 a night, and some for $20 an hour. They got all different hotels in the same city.
Yep. Okay, so there's a new trend happening, and I don't know if you're seeing this in Florida, but it startled me. We're going on to a completely new topic, right? So forget the urban talk, forget the veneer cost there. We're going into something that is trending pretty heavily right now in dentistry. And I noticed it the other day on Instagram, and I was like, what the heck? I've never heard of this dentist. Okay. So they are, hold on, let me share my screen because it's always better with a shared screen. What do you think this is, Craig? So we got 44,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
There is something happening in the market called veneer techs. Veneer techs. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
So they are not dentists.
Right.
Essentially, like, I guess the analog would be like a nail tech, because they're kind of treating it the same with maybe no prep. I'm guessing there's not preparations and numbness going on, but they are just lead press on kind of stuff. Right. So it's crossing that line but they're popping up all over the place. Right. Because people are seeing the cash grab and the things like that. Obviously, no training in function, no training in anything like that. So
I know, but look, this is just an extension, Peter, sorry to cut you, of the mall whitener, the mall whitening people.
Yes.
Then SDC, honestly, Peter, we weren't even allowed to talk about them. I had people telling me, don't talk about them because you will get sued. Like, we never mentioned them by name in a podcast.
What is that? SDC?
Smile Direct Club.
Oh.
Like, remember back in the day when I had friends saying that?
That's
so
right.
Like, this is what happens. Like, if you don't defend our profession, ADA, talking to you, if you don't stick up for us and defend us, this is what we get.
I see.
So, the mall whiteners, why, if we do a whitening, why do we have to pass a certain inspection and have we're not allowed to apply a hygienist is not allowed to apply it. We have to apply it. Then you could have like a nail tech in a mall doing mall whitening.
Yeah.
And no one gets prosecuted.
That's
and
insane.
Then you have SDC doing billions of dollars a year, billions of dollars, left those patients completely destitute. They have nowhere to go.
Ironically, I found something on the same site that's doing it. So it says basically these veneer techs are not licensed to practice dentistry, of course, but have done a 2-day training course to illegally place veneers on patients. They often use nail supplies like acrylic to create veneers on retail sites, off retail sites like Amazon. So look, you're right. We need some protection. This is where dues should come in. This is an existential threat. Potentially, maybe not existential, but you talk about having to price compete, right? When these people are probably, it's probably $100 per veneer they're placing them for. Wouldn't you guess? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I would love to actually call and be like, hey, how much for a full mouth of veneers, right?
Yeah.
But this is not good. And I'm wondering if a lot of their clients that they're having, or customers, I should say, do they even know that they're not dentists? Right? Do they even know? Do they even care?
SDC Small Direct Club proved to people like you and me that the consumer does not care about a doctor. So remember what's happening during the time that Smile Direct Club is coming out. The American Academy of Orthodontists is putting multiple millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars on an advertising campaign trust your orthodontics to an orthodontist. They're actually spending money saying, hey, public, don't go to a dentist, go to an orthodontist. It's like when Target was fighting with Walmart, and all of a sudden Amazon comes in and crushes both of them. They didn't even know that there was this other thing that patients would not care to not even worry about a doctor at all. So forget orthodontist, dentist. I'll just go and take my own goopy impression and send it off in a box and try to do it myself. And this is the conversation I had with the head of the ADA. And I'm like, why are you giving us 15% off for Hertz rental cars? We don't need that. That's not advocacy. You know, advocacy is pursuing people like this. Why are we held to such a high standard in the practice through our board? And then these people squeak around it. And if you also know, Smile Direct Club successfully, personally sued members of state dental boards, Peter.
Successfully?
So well, scared the crap out of them and they dropped their claim. So, I mean, that's successful.
Because they were, quote unquote, disparaging them?
Yeah. So imagine you're serving on the dental board of Georgia and this big bad orthodontic company sues you personally. So you're not indemnified by the board. You were sued personally. Like, okay, I'm out. Go ahead and do your mail order stuff. So it's like the bigger pockets can win here. So I don't know if there was a big player out there that wanted to do, you know, press on veneers,
right?
Like maybe the Lee company. I don't know. Is Lee press on nails still around? Maybe they should,
I don't know.
They should pivot.
I'm sure there's one that's probably superior to there, but yes, like what you're right. What if they, like, I'm actually gonna. It said something about an Amazon thing.
Yeah. So imagine this could take and then again, you know who has to fix it all?
Who?
You know,
yeah, us dentists.
Yeah, us.
Well, it's no different than travel cosmetic. Holy shit, by the way.
Yeah, so show what you're showing me.
Look at, I just Googled the veneers and Amazon. I'm glad this is kind of a wild pod,
Breaking
by the way.
News.
This is, I just typed in dental veneers.
Yeah.
And here's a bag of them you can buy on Amazon. 100 pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, the good news is we can widen our podcast listenership to just nail text now.
Oh my God. Like they selling all this stuff, dental veneer mold sets.
Yeah, perfect.
A bag of 100 veneers for $9. Look at this kit.
$2,000 a unit. We'll sell you a whole bag for $9.
Look at this kid. They're selling denture teeth over here. Like this is not cool. Oh my God. Okay. So, I mean, look, they're selling this damn over. Oh my God. This is what a train wreck this is.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Thanks guys. Thank you for protecting us.
Wow.
You know, I've heard of stories, and maybe it's a South Florida thing, but I hear stories like people getting busted by the feds doing like denture repairs in their garage.
Right. And they're practicing dentistry, quote unquote, right?
Yeah. So imagine like you crack your denture in half and you go to somebody who approximates the pieces perfectly and fiber reinforces it. That guy's going to jail. And then this guy's like, no big deal, gluing it on, permanently locked onto your teeth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at that bag.
Yeah. I think they should call that Bag O Veneers.
Bag O Smiles.
Are you frustrated with your dental experience? Are you tired of being judged? Don't you just want to get the smile of your dreams? Welcome to Bag O Veneers.
Oh my God.
For just 3 easy payments of $2 a piece.
If that's the next Smile Direct Club, right? Veneers by mail, like, geez.
Yeah. I mean, what were they doing? They were the darling of Wall Street, Smile Direct Club.
Well, maybe that should have been our day yesterday, going to pitch that. I'm just kidding.
Bag O Veneers.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, but let's wrap because I wanted this one to be short and sweet. Because I actually looked back on the length of some of our podcasts. I'm like, damn, we were getting up in the 90 minutes on some of those. So sometimes it's daunting to listen to that. This was a light one.
I know.
And and when in doubt, move to the country.
Yeah, bagoveneers.com/Peter Boulden. Use his referral code.
Actually, if you want to move to the country, hit me up. I got some opportunities for you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Take care, people.